We're going to ride the safari, so come along with us.
Safari drivers, we're heading out into the Harambe Wildlife Reserve. I just have a couple safety reminders before we do head on out there. Everybody needs to remain fully and completely seated the entire duration of the safari. That does include if we stop to look at an animal, you do still got to remain fully and completely seated with those hands, arms, feet, and legs inside the truck at all times. For the safety of the animals, there is no eating or drinking on board, as well as refraining from screaming, yelling, or trying to call out to the animals in any way. We are entering their home. We do want to be respectful of them, and those noises are going to scare them away from us as opposed to bring them a little bit closer. So we're starting our adventure here in the Little Ituri Forest, where a lot of animals use camouflage as their first and only line of defense. They like to hide in bushes, grasses, behind trees, wherever they can find to hide. And on the right-hand side, there is an okapi walking around over there. Now, okapi have striped legs, kind of like zebras, but they are the only living relative of the giraffe. Now, we can tell that the okapi and the giraffe are related because they have similar skull structures, but also really long prehensile tongues. Now, prehensile means that they can reach and grab things with it. So they can stick that tongue out, wrap it around a branch, rip those leaves right off, or just pick up a branch off the ground if they really wanted to. Now, the okapi is probably the most elusive animal in the Little Ituri Forest. Wasn't known to the Western world until after 1901. Now, on the left-hand side, there is a black rhino walking around over there. Now, black rhinos are a little bit more active at nighttime, so it's kind of a little early for him to be walking around, so it's kind of cool to see him doing that. They are also more solitary, so they're usually by themselves. They are one of the smaller rhino species, and they have a triangular upper lip that is prehensile, so they can also grab things with that upper lip if they want to. Now, on the right-hand side and also on the left-hand side, there are some rust-colored antelope with horns. Those are bongos. Now, bongo, both males and females have horns. So the way that we tell the difference between the two is that males are darker than females.
Oh, wow.
Now, also on the left-hand side, kind of off in the corner, there is a tan antelope without horns. That is a greater kudu. Now, greater kudu, only the males have horns that can get up to 6 feet long. So it's pretty hard to miss those guys. It's pretty easy to tell that those are females. So we're heading on out of the Little Ituri Forest, and we're going to head into the Sapi River. Now, the Sapi River is an aquatic ecosystem, so a lot of the animals that live here do spend most of their day and their life underneath the water. So we might only find a couple shadows hanging out. Now, I will do my best to point out any shadows that I do see, but it is a pretty big river, so I'm hoping we can find something along the way here. Now, it's a good sign that we are seeing birds. Birds are indicator species. They can tell you whether an ecosystem is healthy or not. If there are a lot of birds, then an ecosystem is healthy. If there are not any birds or there's little birds, then an ecosystem is unhealthy. Now, the reason for that is because birds are more sensitive than any animals, even humans. So any change that happens, they usually react to it first. Now, on the left-hand side, there are some Nile crocodile over there. Now, Nile crocodile can get up to 16 feet long, and they are ectothermic. Make sure we're fully seated at all times. Please don't stand little ones up on your lap. Thank you. Now, ectothermic means that they can't generate their own body heat or maintain their own body temperature like humans can. So in order for them to warm up, they'll lay out in the sun, and in order for them to cool down, they'll head into the water or open those gigantic mouths of theirs and release the heat from inside their bodies. Now, my favorite fact about Nile crocodile is they only eat around 1 meal a week, and in that meal a week, they eat about half of their body weight. So we're going to head on out of the Sapi River, and we're going to head into the savannah. Now, the savannah is not a place in Africa, it is an ecosystem. Most recognizable animals out here. So animals like elephants, giraffes, lions, cheetahs, various types of antelope, as well as over 5,000 other species do call the savannah home. Now, I can't promise we're going to see all 5,000 of those species today. They all have different migratory patterns, sleeping patterns, and eating patterns. But I do see some pretty cool animals out there already, and we are going to get very close to these animals. So as a reminder, just stay fully seated with those hands, arms, feet, and legs inside the truck at all times, as well as remaining as quiet as possible so we don't scare any of the animals away. Now, the first animal that we're going to see is on the right hand side up here. It is a Maasai giraffe kind of hiding in the trees over there. Now, Maasai giraffe are known for the jagged spots that they have. They're not really perfectly circular or square. They're pretty abstract in shape. Now, giraffes are the tallest land mammals in the world. They can get up to 20 feet tall when they're full grown. The tallest one on the reserve is around 19 feet tall. Even when they're born, they're already about 6 feet high. And mom does give birth standing up, so that baby kind of relies on that 6-foot fall to the ground to wake them up and start breathing. Now, with that being said, giraffes are almost never sitting or laying down unless they're extremely comfortable in their environment. So they are flight animals, which means if anything scares them, it feels weird, they don't like something, they'll take off running. And it's a lot easier to do that if they're standing as opposed to sitting or laying down. Now, for being as large as they are, they can run pretty quick. They can run around 30 miles per hour at their top speed. But if they can't take off running fast enough from something, they do have an extremely powerful kick to help defend themselves if they need to. Now, on the left-hand side, it's going to be a little hard to see over the bushes, but please do still stay seated. There is a spotted hyena over there. Now, hyenas are pretty cool. Their hierarchy is based off of females. So even their lowest ranking female is still higher than their highest ranking male. Now, hyenas are also known to be scavengers, but they actually do prefer to hunt. And if anybody has seen the movie The Lion King, where they laugh in the movie, they do actually laugh in real life as well. They have a various number of vocalizations that they make. Now, on the left-hand side, there's some sable antelope kind of hanging out by those bushes there. Now, sable antelope have horns that are curved towards their backs. It is beneficial to them. If a predator were to jump on their back, they can just swing their heads back and defend themselves. Now, they are also the symbol of Harambe Wildlife Reserve because they are so brave and can stick up for themselves when a predator is around. Now, there are a few more Maasai giraffe up on the hill to the left-hand side here, and there is also one just standing in the road here. This one is a baby. He's only a couple months old, but he's already standing about 7 to 8 feet tall. Now, giraffes do spend most of their day eating. They will eat pretty much whatever they can reach, and they can reach food that most other animals can't reach because they are so tall. But what they can't reach with just their height, they can usually reach with their really long tongue. So their tongue can get up to 16 inches long, and it is prehensile, meaning they can grab things, and it is purple in color. Now, that purple is beneficial to them because their tongue's usually hanging out of their mouth all day long and prevents them from getting a sunburnt tongue. Now, this cattle on the right, that is an Ankoli cattle. Now, Ankoli cattle were domesticated by the Watusi tribe in Africa, so they're also called Watusi cattle. The only 2 domesticated animals on the reserve, and they are seen as a symbol of wealth from that Watusi tribe. Now, those horns on top of their head look pretty heavy, but they are lightweight. It's thanks to a honeycomb structure that's on the inside of them. That helps their blood flow as well, and in helping their blood flow helps keep them a little bit cooler. Now, these gray antelope here on the right, these are white-bearded wildebeest. Now, wildebeests are also called gnus, G-N-U, because of the sound that they make. And they can get into pretty large herds. They can get into herd sizes of up to 1.5 million at a time. And they do migrate quite a bit as well, so they can migrate up to 1,000 miles each year. They are also known for stampeding, so they are flight animals like giraffes are. So if anything scares them, it feels weird, they'll take off running as well. And usually if only a few of them take off running, the rest of the herd follows and they cause a stampede. Now if you look to the left-hand side, kind of in the very far back corner, there are some mandrills over there. Now mandrills have really bright, colorful faces that get brighter and more vibrant in color when they get more excited. Males are usually around 100 pounds, whereas females are only around 30. Mandrills also have pouches inside their cheeks so they can store snacks for later. Now mandrills are endangered for a couple different reasons, but one of them is due to habitat loss. Now their habitat is being lost due to the mining of coltan. Now coltan is a really expensive mineral that's in smaller electronic devices like cell phones, tablets, laptops, but it is recyclable. So if you have any old cell phones or tablets lying around your house that you don't know what to do with, you can take them to your local Best Buy or Target retailer, and they can help you recycle those electronics and turn them into newer ones. Now it's not just mandrills that you can help when you recycle those electronics. It's a whole bunch of different species that live in forest-like habitats. So different species of monkeys and apes, as well as some of the species that we saw in the Little Ituri forest, like the okapi, the bongo, and the greater kudu. Now you can even help save elephants. There is an elephant in the very far back left corner over there. That is an African elephant, and we can tell by the shape of his ears. So if their ears are shaped like Africa, it's an African elephant. It's a pretty easy sign. Now African elephants are also considerably larger than Asian elephants, so that's an easy giveaway as well. Now elephants can also use their ears to benefit them, as well as to tell us what kind of elephant they are. So you can kind of see him flapping his ears a little bit. That's how they cool themselves down. So whenever they flap, they can cool themselves about 15 degrees, and that is because they have a whole bunch of blood vessels inside their ears. So when they flap, it cools that blood, and then the cooled blood goes to the rest of their body, and that's how they can cool themselves down. Now, that elephant is a male elephant. We can tell because he's off by himself. Males tend to be more solitary, or they'll hang out with a couple other males just for a few years at a time. They don't form herds or form bonds. The females are the ones that do that. So generally when a male is born, they stick with mom and the rest of the herd for about 14 or 15 years or so, and then will venture off on his own and kind of do his own thing. It's pretty rare for a female to venture away from the herd that she was born. Now on the island to the left, there are some pink birds here. These are greater flamingo. Now greater flamingo are the largest flamingo species, also the lightest in pink color. There's a few of them out there that are gray or slightly gray. Those ones are a little bit younger. So they're born gray and super fluffy, and as they get older, their diet changes. They start to eat more brine shrimp, and the keratin in the brine shrimp is actually what turns them pink. Now, if anybody's a fan of hidden Mickeys, that island is a hidden Mickey. It's one of the largest ones on property. And a group of flamingo together like that is called a flamboyance. So that is a flamboyance of flamingo. There is a mud pit on the left-hand side. That's a good sign we might find some more animals in this area. A lot of animals use the mud to roll around in. That's how they protect their skin from bugs, the sun, or any otother elements they need to protect it from. Now, elephants do something kind of similar to that, except they use their trunks to throw dirt, dust, or mud on their backs. Now, sometimes they are feeling playful and they will like to roll in the mud or in the dirt, or sometimes even play in the water. But usually to protect their skin, they'll use their trunk. Now, coming up on the evenings when they have a lot less competition, but they also have black fur around their eyes. It kind of makes them look like they're wearing eyeliner, but that black fur does help reflect the sun during the day, kind of like we would wear sunglasses on a really bright and sunny day. Now, cheetahs are one of the only large cats that cannot roar, but they can purr and also meow. And they have non-retractable claws. So that just means that their claws, their nails are out all the time. And it does help them grip the ground a little bit better and steer better when they're running 60 miles an hour. Now, if you look to your left-hand side, all the way up on top of the rock there is a couple lions laying down over there. Now, the male is the one with the mane around its neck. That's the really giant fluffy thing. Now, male lion manes can weigh up to 40 pounds at their largest. And lions form groups that are called prides, consisting of females with one, maybe two males. Usually it's no more than one. The females are the hunters of the pride. They go out at nighttime because lions are nocturnal. They sleep about 20 hours of the day. Females will do the hunting. The male stays home and watches the cubs. But even though the females do the hunting, the male is still the one that gets first dibs if and when the females bring home dinner. Now, in order to aid them in their hunting, they have extremely thick paw pads that help them move pretty quietly, almost silently, as they are hunting in the grasses and the bushes. It also helps them climb all the way up to the top of those rock-like structures. The male is usually the one that climbs all the way up to the top and will continuously roar throughout the night. Now, there is a warthog on the left-hand side walking around up on top of that hill. Now, warthogs are the largest burrowing mammals, and they do have two sets of tusks. So they have a lower, duller set of tusks that helps them dig the burrow. Then they have an upper, sharper set of tusks that helps them defend it. So they're very territorial. They'll sleep with their tusks facing outside of the burrow. In case a predator or another animal comes by, they can defend themselves and their homes. Now, warthogs are also one of those species that do use the mud to protect their skin and also help cool them down. Now, on the right-hand side, there's a couple different animals. So there's some ostriches, and then there's some water buck in the very back right corner over there. Now, ostriches are the largest flightless birds, but they still have wings. So instead of using their wings to fly, they actually use their wings to help them steer when they're running. They can run up to 30 miles an hour. Now, those ones are females. We can tell by the color of their feathers. Females have grayish brown colored feathers, whereas males will have jet black colored feathers. Now, those water bucks are one of the only species on the savanna that don't really migrate at all. They'll find one body of water and stick near it their whole lives. Now, we are entering Magadi Glen. Now, Magadi Glen is home to the Warden's Post. Warden lives on the outskirts of the village and the reserve. Keeps an eye on both, helps out both if they need it. Also houses some Nigerian dwarf goats here. Now, they are super cute and super small, but that's about as big as they're gonna get. They're all full grown. Now, the goats and the warden live in a symbiotic relationship, meaning that they benefit from each other. So the goats get a place to stay, food, water, all the essentials, anything they could possibly need or want. And in return, they give the warden milk that can be turned into various dairy products like yogurt, cheese, butter, all that good stuff. Helps feed the warden and the village, and it helps everybody not quite rely on other animals in the area that might be endangered or could become endangered. So a lot of the animals that live here on the reserve are endangered for various different reasons. Now, they are protected here. No harm is ever going to come to them. But out in the wild is a different story. So we want to try and keep the animals like the elephants and the lions and the cheetahs around for years and hopefully generations to come. And you're doing your part just by being here today, seeing the animals, learning about them. But also a portion of your ticket sales to get donated to the Disney Conservation Fund. Now, the Disney Conservation Fund is a really great organization because they help endangered animals all over the world, not just live here on Disney property. They also do some of their own education and research programs and donate to other organizations that do the same thing as them. Now you can donate to the Disney Conservation Fund anywhere here at Animal Kingdom that you can purchase something. You can donate a couple cents, round up your change, a few bucks, however much you want to donate, and Disney will match your donation dollar for dollar, cent for cent, every single thing that you donate. But what's really cool is if you donate at least $1, you get a really cool pin that says Conservation Hero on it. Now it does have an elephant on it, and it changes every so often depending on the organization or the animal they are trying to assist. So we are pulling up to the unload docks here. So now's a really great opportunity to double check your pockets, your rows. Just make sure that you still have all of your belongings that you came on the truck with. It was a really bumpy ride. Things may have shifted.
That was the safari. I hope you enjoyed it.